Peace and blessings. I am Regina, and welcome to my happy place, Diva G's Reborns. We are here with our toddler, Charlie. Look at him. We are up to additional underpainting to help to create additional realism to his face. What we have done is we have gone over each and every area that we applied the eyelid purple and the chocolate brown, the eyelid purple and the burnt umber. We have gone ahead with applying additional layers. We went in his nose again. We went around the lip area. Okay, we did some strategic shading. Okay. We went in the ears again to create that depth. Okay, so our Charlie is coming along. It's all about the subtle details, in my opinion, that help to make the difference, that adds to that realism. So we're going to go ahead with some additional underpainting with our Charlie. What I will do is I'm going to use a glove because he is so large and heavy. Holding him the way I would a smaller baby doesn't seem to be working. So I don't want to get fingerprints on him. So this latex glove should help me along with the painting. So yeah. And so he's coming along nicely. Let's see if you can see some of the coloring up close. Oh, and I did also add a little bit of um my blue shadow, my blue wash right here to give the illusion that the skin is just a little bit thinner. I did that on both ears. So, okay, let's get to it. We're going to go ahead with just one more application of the burnt umber. I think I think that will be quite nice. And yeah, so I would like to encourage you to please like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments and I will answer your questions as best as I can. I did receive a question where I was asked if I use gray, and my reply was I do gray is a color that you have to use very carefully because it can have the tendency to make your kit appear ashy or to have your doll appear unalive. Now, you can use gray sometimes to kind of neutralize a color a little bit. Sometimes you can do that, but you have to be very careful so that you do have a lively appearance of your doll. So that's just my opinion, um, about that. So I don't know if anyone else has used gray and found it effective. in their reborning process. Um, we just have to be mindful that some colors, when they dry and the way they translate onto the kit, it may not look lively, So yeah, so that's something to think about as well. So we will take out our brushes, our paints. So we are going through with our Charlie, our toddler Charlie. Ah, I'm excited to be painting Charlie. As you know, I've never painted a toddler before, so we are just going to have some fun. I'm going to take out my Christina Woolly brush. This is my burnt umber mix that I have just a bit of black in it, just a little bit, to deepen it up slightly. And I'm going to go around certain areas of his eyes to help to create the look of realism that we're seeking. Now, one of the things that I did point out to another artist was that when you're trying to root eyelashes, to do it to give yourself a bit of ease doing it, to kind of outline the eyelash with the eyelash line with a color, you know, a deeper color. So, because that will help you to be able to see where you are applying the hair. So, I am also doing the same thing because we will be rooting our Charlie. You want to be certain that you don't have any blank vinyl anywhere, because that just will not look good. It will not look good. I take my time when I am painting. I take my time because this is something I really do enjoy, and I want to savor every minute of it. So yeah, I just want to savor every minute of it. I'm just pouncing around, being certain, being very deliberate as to what I'm doing. There are different areas that um, have shadow, and to honor those areas, I like to do that and do a certain amount of pouncing to have them to blend. Oh, his head is so heavy. Yikes. Hmm. And what I'm doing now, if I were to put him on the towel rack, um, I guess I could do that. Um, but then again, I don't think you would be able to see because the tower rack is tall. Yeah, the towel rack is a bit taller than, so you really wouldn't be able to see. Again, it's the subtleness of how and where you apply the paint. Everyone has their own vision and their own way, if you're an artist, of the way you paint. And it's kind of, will give you your signature as to what you do. I don't think that there are any two artists that paint identically, because you have your own preferences, what you see as an important feature, and someone else may see it as not so important. And that's okay too. Everyone has their own ideas, their own vision. And what you start off doing, you may or may not continue doing that throughout your reborning career. What I'm doing is tweaking my painting techniques, because when I started painting just about 6 months ago, which is the end of August 2025, I jumped in with both feet doing everything. Painting, highlighting, underpainting, rooting human hair, using human hair, rooting eyebrows, eyelashes, hair, and my first doll was Sonic, a sleeping baby. And then once I finished her, I immediately began another doll, Lillian, who is an open eye baby. And so from the beginning, I've been, painting the way in which I do paint, pretty much, and rooting and doing these things that I have a little bit of paint here that I want to get off. So I'm taking a slight bit of distilled water on a pointed Q-tip. So I've been pretty much doing the same, trying, perfecting, or, you know, um, whatever it is that I've been doing, because the more you do something in general, the better you would hope that you get. So, yeah. So we're creating the depth, and you see his eyes. Now, here his eyes may look like he's not well, but that's not true, because we have not applied any flesh layers yet. So once we apply the flush layers and the other colors, you're going to see how his color comes alive. But we're just doing some of the strategic underpainting. And it does take some time to do that. But you know, that's something, it just depends on how much time you want to take and what is your overall vision for your work, for your craft, for your hobby. Do you want your dolls to look close to real, or do you want them to look like a doll? It's all up to you. I mean, they are dolls, you know. Um, but you can do things to make them look, you know, realistic if that's what you want. Again, everyone has their own idea of what it is that they like, what they like to see. Okay, so you can definitely see his face is taking on some definite color, some shadows, some highlights. Now, what I will do is I do want to dry him with the heat gun, so I will come back. Okay, while our Charlie is cooling off a bit, what we will do is take our limbs and go across in certain areas with the burnt umber, certain areas that we want to deepen up a little bit with the burnt umber color. And again, these are just details that, you know, that I choose to highlight, or details that I choose to do. To create certain depth of shadows and certain coloring. Let's see. Let's see if I can turn it this way. Now this underpainting that I'm doing, some of it will show through the skin layer, the skin tone layers. When I say show, you'll have an impression of the coloring. And that's just what I want, the impression of the color. Now, what I will also do as needed, I will also go back over these colors after the flesh tone layer is applied, if it's needed. So I'm just kind of deepening up certain areas again. So trying to have it you can see and I can see too. I'm going across the knuckle areas on the, even though we did the creasing on them, there's additional color that can be added. And this coloring will be added, and I will go over and make it, you know, accented again as needed. You know, just because you do something one time, it doesn't mean that the color will play out the way you desire it to the end of the reborning process. So sometimes there are colors that you do, steps that you have to do again so that it can play out through the entire reborning. And that's quite normal and it's quite fine. And we're gonna go with the same thing on the feet. The same thing, adding the color here and being able to feather this out. And we're almost ready for some of the flesh tone layers. We're almost ready. Okay. And we are going to go again with our Charlie with his coloring in strategic places. I need to change my brush. I should be using the Christina Woolley to get into these tight spots. having an overall concept on light and dark, how, shadows and highlights can be somewhat beneficial. It's not something that's mandatory to know, but it can be helpful. These details again, I will reinforce them or reapply them as indicated, as needed. Again, some things play out to the end and some don't. And even though, doing something and it doesn't play out completely in a certain type of way, I still do it because the subtle difference that it makes, to me, is worth it. So I'll do those things. And it's just a preference. I'm just tapping out, kind of pouncing that shadow color. Because we don't want any pooling. Because pooling is not your friend. Pooling is only good if you decide you're going swimming. Or if you're going into some type of something and you want to all pool your money together or something like that, that's different. That type of pooling is okay. But pooling and painting, nah, that's not what you want. There's different areas that you may decide to create shadows on a kit because it appears that it would look nice, that it would look good. little spot I want to get off. As soon as you see something that doesn't align with your vision, or that appears to be, you know, a spot or something, the sooner you get rid of it, the better, because you won't like the way it plays out later on. It won't look good. So I just see a little speck, kind of like in here. And it doesn't look the way I want it to be. So I'm just kind of going in, and I will go ahead with the color again, because I see like a little speck that I want to remove. Okay, so we want to let that dry a bit, and we're going to come back. Okay, so we are back, and we have our various colors that we want to work with. Want to go ahead with going back inside of our Charlie's ear to go ahead with that bit of coloring that to add that shadow. Use this brush to get in there. Okay. So he's looking, you can start to see some nice shadow effects on him, creating depth. I think he looks nice. I think he really does. We're going to go across again, some more of the details here. Going to go on his hands again. And I'm going to pause and come back. And then we should be able to do the detail, the flesh layers. Okay, so we're going to begin with some of the yellow ochre, which is going to create a highlight on the mid face. And then we're going to follow up with flesh tone colors. So we will be using our yellow ochre all over. Okay, we're going to start at the back of the head. And you're just going to go all across with our yellow ochre. Again, because I'm not certain of the his complete his complexion or the color of his hair, so I am going across his whole head, because I like to color the scalp as though, the same way I'm coloring the rest of the body, the rest of the face. Now, what I will do is I may go one shade lighter on the scalp. I may put one less layer because on your scalp, it tends to be about just a little bit lighter than your overall, complexion tends to be just a little bit lighter. Unless a person is bald and then it's, it's the same color. But other than in an instance like that, it's usually, maybe a shade or so lighter. I'm just pouncing it out. Going behind the ear, making sure, right? And Charlie is such a big, it's a lot to him, so I want to make sure that I'm getting under his ears. Well, I gotta figure out a better way to hold him. Okay. May have to put him on the towel rack because he is quite heavy to hold. I know I keep saying that, but I just can't believe how heavy he feels. I think I'm going to have to resort to using my towel rack. Yeah, you can see. So it's okay. I can use the towel rack and you can still see. Okay. So I'm just going all over. I like the yellow ochre because it gives this beautiful undertone of a glow, a healthy glow. So it's something that from my very first doll that I reborned, I did the yellow ochre. So I've been doing this from the beginning. And so I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but again, like I said, Charlie's head is very heavy for me to hold. So I have him on this towel rack, and I can turn his head on it to angle it where I can, where I can see and work with him. And I think you can see some of him when I turn him to you. But what I'm doing is I'm just going all over his face, his nose, his eyes, everywhere with the yellow ochre. I'm not going over his lips though with the yellow ochre. I'm not doing that. But basically everywhere else, I'm going with the yellow ochre. I think it gives really, truly a beautiful, healthy glow. Now I haven't done the ears. I'm going to do the ears separately with the yellow ochre. Okay. And I'm using a Swisspers sponge. Okay. So now we're going to allow him to dry. We're going to close up the yellow ochre. We will put another layer on him of the yellow ochre. But in the meantime, we're going to take what is our number 5 color, which looks like hot cocoa. I like to call it a nutmeg color because it does. It looks like the seasoning nutmeg. So yeah, so I want to just use this. Be sure that now for this color, I'm gonna go all across everywhere on our Charlie. Not his nails, but his palm, everywhere except for his nails. Because remember, we did not add any color to his palms. We did his color, the mottling depth layers we did, but we didn't do anything with his palms, right? So we're doing that now. And we will do possibly 2 to 3 layers of this um, hot cocoa color. We will do 2 to 3 layers of this. And again, this is going all over. We're just avoiding the nail beds. It's funny, I started, of course, with, you know, the newborn size dolls. So I was so very accustomed to their weight and holding them. So the toddler is, of course, different, a whole other different ball game of weight. But it's okay. It's just, a little bit of a learning curve because he's a little bit, he's a little bit heavier and a little bit, you know, the arms are a little bit, um, challenging because of the shape. And the legs aren't too much because they're straight. And the arms aren't a problem. It's just, like I said, they're just a little awkward to hold because um, he's the first toddler that I'm doing. But he won't be the last one because we do have June of 3 years. So she's a small child, she's child size. So, yeah, so we'll be doing her. I'm not certain if we'll do her next. I have to I have to really think about it because I know it's going to take a while to root Charlie. And I may, in between Charlie and June, I may go ahead with a smaller baby. I was thinking to do a Caucasian and also, a Caucasian like about 18 inches. And I do also have, I believe it's a 10 or a 12 inch um, that I want to do. Now that hot cocoa color, you can see the color on the flange. We have the depth layers, and you can see that hot cocoa color, that number 5. It has given a nice bit of color. So I'm going to paint all of the limbs with that color and come back. Okay, so we have done 2 layers of the yellow ochre on our Charlie. You can see he has this um, undertone of a glow going on, okay, which is what we want. And you can see where the shading is very much apparent, right? The second layer of the ochre, yellow ochre that we did, we concentrated it toward the front of the face. So we began it about here and went forward. Okay, we didn't touch the ears. Okay, but we did the rest of the face. So now what I would like to do is I'm going to use our number 5 color, which is this beautiful hot cocoa color. And I'm going to start from the back of his head and go all the way around, go all the way up with this brown color, this pretty brown. So we'll use this color. I think I'm going to use the larger brush to cover a little bit more territory. Moistening the brush in some distilled water. Saturating the brush with paint. And then just bouncing out. Okay. I think Charlie is going to be a light skin melanated toddler. I think he will be. I think that's what he's telling me. That he would like to be. Yeah, so we are building up his skin tone layers. We will do a second of the I think of this pretty nutmeg color. Let's see if you can see how that looks with the yellow ochre. Okay. The yellow ochre comes through very nicely, not overpowering, but in a very nice very nice way. You know, a nice subtle way. So we're going across his entire face with this number 4, no, excuse me, number 5 color. This hot cocoa type brown. This nutmegish kind of color. And we want to be certain that we get pounced out quite nicely so that we don't have any brush strokes. Okay, so he has this beautiful coloring, right? Very lovely color. Now we're going to do his ears as well. Gonna pause. Okay, now we are on to the limbs with this coloring, which is going to be very nice. This is the second layer that we are putting on the limbs. I didn't mean to use this brush. Meant to use the smaller one, but it's okay. It's okay. So we're not going on the soles or the palm. We're just going right on ahead with this as a skin layer, skin tone layer. And you can see how the depth layers are giving the illusion of blood flow. Okay. I would like to ask you to please do like, comment, subscribe, share, and I would hope that you would come back again real soon to continue with the journey of our toddler Charlie. He is coming along quite nicely. Charlie has some pretty legs. He has some lovely, lovely limbs. So we see how lovely he looks. Okay. Well, thank you so much for spending your time here at Diva G's Reborns. Come back again real soon. Peace and blessings.